I don't think there has ever been anyone so dominant at a fighting game in the same way that Xiaohai is in King of Fighters. There's been players who sat at the top of a game for one iteration of a series, or those who reigned as insurmountable for a few years, but never has there been somebody so absolutely and overwhelmingly good as Xiaohai. His name strikes fear in anyone who would dare face him in bracket, not just as a KOF player, but in other games like Street Fighter as well.
Get touched.
Oh, he gets hit on the air! That's it! Xiaohai is gonna uppercut! He's gonna take it! He lost 0-3 in the first set, but he has come back all the way, and he's gonna take it in the second set with that EX dive kick in the uppercut. Xiaohai is the score esports Brooklyn.
He's so good, he's beaten players in KOF 98 with just one hand, pulling off some insane feats of dexterity. And if that wasn't enough for you, he has a title in EVO from the last 3 major KOF releases.
Oh! Keep doing that, and he kicks him out with a 10 beat.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Xiaohai is your champion.
Xiaohai, only one touch away. The patience, oh my God. Oh, that's real, baby! Ahora yo!
At first place, your new EVO 24 champion. Let me hear it for Xiaohai!
Xiaohai, possibly considered the most dominant KOF player ever.
Yeah.
Just good in every KOF, a monster in 98. Just as good in 2K2 UM, and I mean now proving he's got what it takes in 13.
Yeah, he's on top of the world right now.
But this video isn't about Xiaohai. This video is about a story that might never get a proper ending. A mystery who took the FGC by storm and left as quickly as he appeared. This video is about Xiaohai's demon, someone who he has faced multiple times and not been able to surpass. This video is about the Chilean player, Felipe Torres, also known as Misterio. Before diving in, I want to say thanks for 15,000 subscribers. It's literally a bigger number than I'd ever thought I'd see for this channel. I love making stuff like this, and it means the world to me that so many people like it as well. If you want to support me and what I do, please consider subscribing to the channel, as it really does help more than you know. But with that out of the way, let's get into it. From my perspective as an American, Misterio truly appears to be just that, a mystery. Even the footage I found of him is dark, extremely low resolution, or straight up deleted from the internet. I've already covered how much Latin America loves King of Fighters, and the fact that there's probably dozens of killers from that region that we never get to see on the main stage of events for travel and logistical reasons. Misterio is exactly one of those players. I have little idea where his story began, but for us today, we'll start in late 2013 at Treta Aftermath, an event in Curitiba, Brazil. As far as records on the American internet go, this is where most of us became aware of Misterio for the first time. The tournament was a Capcom Pro Tour qualifying event, meaning lots of international talent such as Sakonoko and Ryan Hart went to fight for a spot at the Capcom Cup that year in Street Fighter IV. This meant the competition for other games was pretty stacked as well. Needless to say, Misterio came out on top as champion of the large event, and from there he seemed to become a name to keep track of, as he had set his eyes on international competition.
Estoy súper emocionado, muy emocionado, agradecido con BGM, que es la organización que organizó el torneo, que el cual gané, me voy al Evo. Espero que ellos estén allá también conmigo apoyándome, y es más la emoción. Tal vez no me puedo imaginar un sentimiento como muy certero de qué es lo que me pasa. Creo que estando allá, voy a decir wow, y voy a poder enumerar lo que siento, lo que quiero hacer, pero estoy emocionado más que nada.
The next stop on his journey to greatness was at CEO in 2014, the following year, at which he took 4th place, a very notable placement, especially as far as I can tell, for his first major in the US. Made it to top 8 in winners over players like Kane Blue River and Ryan Hart before going down at 4th place. I say that, but the players he lost to in bracket were Reynolds and Zero Black, a fellow Chilean player. The crazy part is, Misterio and Reynolds played a 1-15 that weekend, and Misterio won 15-7. He may have gone down in bracket, but now, even in the States, people had their eyes on Misterio. Now, this is the spot in the video where things get a little hard to keep track of, but luckily I had my detective cap on for this one and I didn't let any information get past me unnoticed. There was a tournament called IGT 2015 that ran a pretty substantial KOF bracket. There is almost no footage of the tournament on the American internet, and it's pretty difficult to find the results of who actually won. All I could find on YouTube was half of a 1-10 with Misterio fighting Xiaohai after the tournament. I could also only find forum posts talking about how Misterio bought a shirt from the event and that he and Tokido were champions of IGT, which made sense because I know Tokido won the tournament the year before. There's also quotes on blogs of players like Freezer saying they want to get better to challenge Misterio in the future, but it's still unclear if this meant Misterio won in 2015. Honestly, I was gonna just assume so, considering we know he started traveling overseas to tournaments after Treda in 2013. I was pretty much ready to drop this whole section until I realized what was actually going on. IGT 2015 was a single elimination bracket held in Korea, streamed on Chinese streaming services that also didn't feature many American participants, so of course it didn't get much coverage for us in the States. So I did some more digging and even then struggled to find actual sets from the tournament, but that's when I came across the Dream Cancel archives. Dream Cancel, for those who don't know, is an online community and resource dedicated to King of Fighters mostly, but also just SNK games in general. Luckily, in their archives are tournament results, and we can see here that Misterio did win back in 2015. Not only did he win, but apparently he was bodying everyone and they were all amazed with his skills. He also beat Xiaohai in grand finals over other players like E.T., Sange Tencho, and Mad KOF. There's tons of other results not listed on my usual sources like Maligno Cup, VGMTEC, UAFG, and Lone Star Admonition 2, all of which Misterio won.
What's gonna happen? Is Misterio gonna be able to do this? He's gonna, oh, and it looks like this is it, ladies and gentlemen. He didn't use a super, he didn't use a Neomax, he just went with the kill.
And this is the part where I have to address some of the people in the YouTube comments. Yes, I know that Asia usually dominates KOF on the main stages of tournaments, and in my video about Mexico, Bala loses to the Korean powerhouses that ended up winning EVO that year. But what people don't realize is how few of these Latin American legends actually get to travel. This year in 2015, Misterio was the best King of Fighters 13 player in the world, and everybody knew it. Not only did he beat Xiaohai in grand finals of IGT with an OCB, but he also stumped him in a 1-10 later that weekend. And Xiaohai wasn't even the only guy to go down. It seemed as though nobody could lay a finger on Misterio and he became the guy to beat. To me, this was just a lesson in how big the world actually is. You truly never know who's out there and how strong they can be.
Al principio no era tan constante, porque tal como tú mencionabas, allá en Chile no hay sponsor, entonces las horas que se trabajan en Chile también son muchas. Yo vivo alquilado, entonces tengo que hacer muchas cosas y cumplir en el trabajo. Entonces tuve un buen trabajo, una empresa muy buena, tengo mucho cariño a ellos, y cuando me gané el pasaje al Evo yo decidí tirarme a la piscina, como decimos en Chile.
Acá decimos tirarse la pileta.
Ya, me tiré a la pileta y dije, bueno, esta es una oportunidad súper grande que me puede abrir muchas más puertas de las que ya me ha abierto.
And this is where we set the stage for the main event. Later that year, in October of 2015, we arrive at grand finals of the SoCal Regionals for King of Fighters 13. Just to get to this point, so many legends had to fall. I'm talking Reynolds, El Rosa, Canabelito, and Chris KOF to name those just in top 8. Xiaohai was knocked into losers by Reynolds, but Misterio hadn't dropped a single game all the way to the spot in winner's side of grand finals. But to Xiaohai, this is the very moment he's been training in anticipation for the last 6 months since IGT. The training shows too, as Xiaohai goes toe-to-toe with Misterio's team in the first set, including his Yuri, who the whole world had trouble understanding up to that point. Game 1 goes to Misterio though, and a last character low health scramble. What's crazy to see is how patient he was, allowing Xiaohai to flounder across the stage trying to score a cheeky hit and avoid the chip kill from Yuri. He remained calm and collected, ending the game with a solid anti-air. Game 3 starts pretty much the same way as the others, except Xiaohai starts from a favorable position, but that doesn't last long. The momentum shifts back and forth until Mr. Karate is able to pick things up and offer Xiaohai some leverage to end the game. It's obvious that Xiaohai just wants to end this game considering he opts to save meter but still dish out damage with level 1 supers to put Misterio on the back foot. This tactic of in and out offense seems to work until Misterio gets out of the corner and brings the game to a final character standoff. Xiaohai only needs one solid hit to end this game, but he struggles to find it among the solid defense and constant mix-ups from Yuri. The tournament is slipping fast from his reach against this problem character, and it seems like there's nothing he can do except mash out.
I think you didn't went too crazy. Oh,
Wow, what game?
It was a wild response of someone who was not ready to give up, and you can see that Misterio wasn't ready for it either. That 1-2B, that crouching light kick, was a huge swing in momentum for Xiaohai. Game 4, he takes out Athena first for the first time in the set, and even takes down King, opening things up for a potential OCV. But here comes the problem child Yuri. Expeditiously, she dispatches Yuri, and even more convincingly, she does away with Mr. Karate, leaving Xiaohai to deal with the potential reverse OCV. The final round between these two happens at breakneck speed with anti-airs and stray hits landing everywhere, but nobody converting anything big. Xiaohai even spends almost all the meter he had saved up to no avail, and then suddenly he lands an overhead in neutral and cancels it into hyperdrive mode for the kill. The back and forth between these two is staggering, and even the crowd starts to pop off.
Alright, we're going to the last match. Then, it might reset the bracket, so we'll see about that.
You did an amazing playstyle with Yuri for Xiaohai showing the wide play that. He did the right decisions at the last fight.
Misterio begins Game 5 with a more aggressive Athena than we've seen all set. The mix-ups and resets are blindingly fast, setting Xiaohai on the back foot. But as we've seen, he is not afraid to bust out. Not only does he break through, he does so with an EX command grab. Xiaohai seemed so ready for Misterio to bait a button or a DP, or maybe for him to go for a throw after the reset, and instead decided to command grab Misterio and turn the tides of the fight. Now it's time for Misterio to respond. He wakes up teleport into DP. Misterio's decision here shows that he, like Xiaohai, is not afraid to press on disadvantage, which is crazy, because if Xiaohai went for a setup, it's likely he still would have been crossed up by the teleport and hit by the Psycho Sword. Neither of these players is going to make it easy on the other, and this game has only just begun. Xiaohai arrives at set point against Yuri for the last time this set, and Misterio's cracks start to show. Mr. Karate clips Yuri pretty much just twice, and Xiaohai manages to reset the bracket. The momentum is obviously at Xiaohai's back here, and in response, Misterio switches up his team order, opting to put King on point, Yuri in the middle, and Athena on anchor. This is a completely different team for Xiaohai to deal with, and whole new matchups make themselves evident. Specifically, it seems that Misterio is looking for his Yuri to deal with Mr. Karate and being able to zone out Kim if he has to as Athena. Xiaohai remains unfazed by the switch and keeps a level head going into the second set. The two combatants start scrapping until Yuri lands a sweep into the kill. Kim also runs over Yuri, leading into an anchor battle. This is where Misterio's plan comes into effect. The counterpick of Athena against Kim works really well for the first half of the round, and then Misterio is forced to show how strong his defense is, because Xiaohai makes it clear that he will press buttons or run full screen to get him. In the end, Athena's mobility and mix-ups are too much for Xiaohai, and Misterio takes the lead once more.
Oh man, that's his game. It's like I don't. Xiaohai, it might be the stake or anything, but I think he's kind of frustrated with it too.
You can see the mental toll the set is taking on Xiaohai as he dropped a game-winning combo in that round, and yet Misterio seems mostly unfazed. As the next game starts, Misterio zones Xiaohai with textbook fireball placements and zoning trap until Xiaohai finally gets in and starts his offense, but once again he drops the combo. It's been said that Xiaohai didn't have his personal stick for KOF at this tournament because the setups were run on different consoles, but this seems more like a case of nerves as he's dropping the easy combos. The zoning doesn't stop there, but Mr. Karate is able to stop King and force Yuri to come out to play, and boy does she play. One opening was all she needed, and suddenly Xiaohai has to really buckle down. This round speaks for itself, and Xiaohai has another unfortunate drop, but is still able to make it to the next round with a pixel of health pretty much.
Oh, got it. Get up, just stay alive. Stay up. Xiaohai come back, but it's going to be very bad for him right now. Super bad.
The Chinese champion pretty much has just this last chance to stay in the tournament and stop Misterio's momentum, or else the frustration will likely be too much. And there it is. One more game and the Chilean will take the title home. The first round actually does speak for itself, so I'm just gonna let that play out.
Fireballs.
He's not letting him in.
Yeah,
Good
he's...
job by Misterio. He's not letting him. Let's go.
To be honest with you, this looks like Korea all over again.
Man, what a... Let him out. Didn't let him out. That was a perfect, actually.
Yeah, this is exactly what happened a couple months ago.
In the next round, Karate lands some hits and does well to deal with King, but then Misterio busts out an incredible read with his guard cancel, followed by what looks to me like an impossible anti-air. I didn't even see him buffer the super, as he did it in the time it took to just whiff 2B.
Oh, that's huge. That's huge. That pretty much seals the deal right there, to be honest. Oh, wow.
Misterio is locked in, and victory is in his sights. King's zonings and spacing traps prove too much for Kim to overcome, and once again, with 2B into Super wins Misterio the tournament with a dominating 3-0 over Xiaohai. With this, Misterio cemented himself as probably the strongest player in the world at KOFXIII in the year of 2015, making him one of the few people in the world to stun Xiaohai not once, not twice, but 3 times in less than 6 months. And after I found this out and learned all the context, I began to really wonder why I hadn't heard more of him. I'd seen comments comparing Bala to him or vice versa, but I pretty much never saw Misterio's name in a KOF bracket again. I don't know if he continued to play afterwards or if he just stopped competing overseas, but with his name being so hard to find in the year where he dominated, I began to wonder if he just didn't want to be found.
Tenía un poco de ahorro, lo conversé con mi mamá, dije mira, puedo vivir estos 2 meses de ahorro, tengo plata, no de sobra, pero tengo para vivir, para cubrir los gastos. Me voy a poner a entrenar y no voy a ir a Estados Unidos. Entonces ella me dijo, tú eres grande, confío en ti, eres inteligente, me dijo, va. Entonces renuncié a mi trabajo, por eso estoy aquí. Hablé con mi jefe, le expliqué, terminamos todo en súper buena relación y ahí empecé un poco más a entrenar. Empecé a jugar un poco más seguido, empecé a instruirme un poco más, invitaba gente a mi casa, ahora vine acá también a jugar con los chicos, con mis amigos de Argentina. Entonces estoy como a cortas del sueño. Voy a ver si lo que arriesgué vale la pena o si no, la experiencia y la valentía de haberlo hecho va a quedarse, que no voy a morir. Sí. Las manos están, voy a seguir trabajando, haciendo una vida normal y súper tranquilo.
Some people play the game for fame, others for self-improvement, and others just play for fun. I don't know which of those Misterio is, but I think it's pretty badass to show up everyone, including the greatest of all time, and then just bow out. But it's also another testament to how important exposure of certain scenes can be in fighting games. There's people out there who truly do possess world-class talent, and we might never get to see it. Or even when they do get to show it off, maybe it's a short-lived story at the top that ends before it gets to the maximum potential. Misterio became a legend known around the world, but I wonder if his name will be forgotten down the line. He pretty much achieved everything he set out to do, but is it possible that he could have done more? I guess we'll never know. That's all I've got for now. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.